Welcome to BC Sunday Rant. Today's rant is going to be about reciprocity. How one good turn deserves another, but that rarely works like that. And I've got a few I want to tell you about that's happened to me that just to this day kind of makes you shake your head. We have a car wash here in town, and the man that owns the car wash, it's a hand car wash. Well, he has these three steel ladders with little decks on the top of them that you can stand comfortably and reach over and wash the top of a vehicle. Well, all three of them were broken and need to be welded. So I told him I would weld them for him. I brought the ladders home and I welded all three of them up for him. And I'm sure he expected to pay me, but he didn't ask me how much ahead of time. So I brought the ladders home, I welded all three of them up. I brought him back, and he asked me how much, and I said, no charge. No big deal. I had a welder. It took me a few minutes for each ladder. So I didn't charge him anything. And it was like the next weekend, we were having a citywide, a town-wide yard sale where you could just set up on the main drag through town and sell whatever you want to, set up a table. Well, I called him and asked him if he would, since it was a day that he didn't open his car wash, a Saturday, plus it was drizzling, and you don't wash cars, when it's raining. I asked him if he would mind if I'd set up in his parking lot. That way people could have a place to park. And he goes, sure, you can do that as long as you pay me what I would normally make in a day of washing cars. And I said, well, hey, man, this is Brad, the guy that welded ladders for you. And I've done a few other things before him before that, but that was the biggest thing. And he goes, I know who you are. And I thought, oh, okay, so you won't let me park in your parking lot without paying you. Okay, I get it. My next door neighbor. I called a friend of mine. I had dropped my pickup truck off at a shop to get something done, and I knew it was going to be there for 2 days. So I called a friend and asked him if he could come pick me up, and he couldn't. And I called my neighbor next door. And this neighbor, over the years, I have cut trees for them. I've mowed their yard. I've fixed things for them. I put his brakes on for his car. He didn't know how to put his brakes on, so I showed him how. I called him and asked him for a ride home from where I was at the shop. It's about 4 or 5 miles from here where we live. He charged me $10 to come pick me up. I'm shaking my head over it. There's a lady out here on the main highway. Her backyard was covered and poison ivy. And I went over there and I cut all that poison ivy down. I cut it off the fence with a machete. I cleaned her backyard up where the poison ivy wouldn't come back. And later, like a week or so, I had a big brush pile that I wanted to burn out there. And she had a faucet on the back of her house. And I asked her if I could connect to her faucet in case my fire got out of control. And she said, oh, no, I'm on a fixed income. I can't let you do that. And I said, well, it's highly unlikely I'm going to use any water. I just want it as a precaution. And, if I end up using any water, I'll pay your water bill. She wouldn't let me hook to her faucet after all the work I'd done for her for nothing. Reciprocity does not exist. People are quite willing to let you help them, do nice things for them. And when it comes time where you're in need or need a little help, they will not. And that has just totally changed my attitude. And I don't like the way I'm feeling now. I'll tell you another one that happened years ago, and it still affects me to this day. My wife and I had a job pulling a tanker for a company. And it was not a great job, but we made it a good job. We were, the top team there. I had one driver of the year previous. we were their go-to team whenever they needed somebody to pull them out of a bind or a truck broke down. They would send us to hook up to the load and get it there on time. And I even moved out to Odessa, Texas temporarily to open a terminal out there for them and get some people hired. And I moved back. And 2 years, I just bent over backwards doing everything I could to do a good job for them folks. And then I fell and hurt my back. And you would not believe how them people treated me after that. My wife and I had worked hard to get a really nice truck from them with air ride suspension and all that, air ride cab. And when we came back, they had given our truck away to somebody else with our stuff in it, maps, blankets, everything. And they gave us this old beat up junk that leaked and didn't have, it was spring ride and not a team truck. And then the regular long runs that we used to take, they were nickel and dime. I mean, what they were trying to do is get me to quit because they didn't want somebody who would hurt their back to be part of their company anymore. 2 years of busting my butt for them people and being driver of the year one year. And all it took was blowing a disc out for them to treat me like that. Which actually was a benefit because my wife and I turned around and bought our own truck and leased it on to their competition and made a ton of money. And that's what actually made me buy my own truck, was with the first time I hurt my back. And there were many after that. And yeah, just been pondering all the things that people are quite willing to let you do for them. Here's another example. All the people we know. My wife was in the hospital for 10 days. We had one visitor. That was heartbreaking. That of all the people we know and all the people that knew of what was happening and how long my wife was in the hospital, we had one visitor. And that was really what prompted me to get rid of my chickens. There was nobody that I could count on to come feed my chickens and water them. Nobody. That's sad. With all the people we know and all the people I've helped out and done things for, I couldn't depend on anyone. Heartbreaking. And that's when you realize you're really alone in the world, is when you think you have friends that care about you, and it turns out they really don't. only as long as it's convenient to care about you. Well, that's my Sunday rant. I don't want to feel like this all day, but sometimes you start to remembering things, wrongs done to you, I guess, and it just snowballs into other things you recall and other things you recall. And over the years, I have slowly become that person that is very reluctant to do anything to help anybody anymore, because while it makes me feel good doing it, it makes me feel bad when I know that if I ever needed anything, they wouldn't be there to help me. And that's kind of a sad way to live your life, but I think that's the world we live in now. You're on your own. Nothing is reciprocal. A kindness is not repaid. Compassion is laughed at. Anyway, that's my rant. Have a good Sunday, everybody.
Go. Okay. Ordered this yesterday morning. And it's the same price as PetSmart. Plus I got free shipping and $15 off. PetSmart is going to run out of business.
$15 off, shipped to your door for free. And yeah, bye PetSmart. Who is it, hon?
Chewy.com.
Chewy.com.
And they have some really good deals there.
Was that about 40 pounds?
This, I think it's 33.
Would you like me to get that for you?
No, it's 28.
28? Okay, well,
I got it
30's your cutoff, huh?
I got it for you, man.
Okay, you got it for me? Thank you. Because I'm delicate. Pies, cobblers, coffee cake, cheese Danish too, all left abandoned to wander the lonely aisles of Walmart. For only 12 cents a day, you can help a lonely pie, a homeless pie, achieve its dreams of having a home. Here at the BC Truck Pie Ranch, we bring these pies home, we rehabilitate them, and we release them into the wild. For 12 cents a day, please help.
I would go, and she would go at me, trying to pretend bite my face. She's biting at the air. She don't ever make
Oh, no. You got booty breath. You got terrible breath.
God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the sky, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." By telling Adam and Eve to rule over every living thing that moves on the earth, God was giving humanity the legal responsibility to rule the planet. He then gave our forebears everything they would need